What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to discuss about my sump filtration for my 75-gallon African cichlid tank. Okay, so to start off, my tank above is a 75-gallon and I have about a 30-gallon tank or sump down below. I've probably got approximately about 20 litres of biological media in here. And of course I've got a sheet cut into a few pieces of jet mat and also polyester filling. So just talking about the design of this pump. Initially this sump didn't look like what it was when I got it. The baffles were much closer, as you can see in this photo. And what I did was I have moved the baffles further so I can get more media into my sump, as I didn't really need such a large last chamber, because I wasn't going to be growing any plants and I wasn't going to isolate any fish. But even if I didn't need that big of a one anyway. So just going through how I've built my sump and how I've staged it and why. And the sort of system I'm using to get the water in and get the water out. So let's start with the plumbing. First of all, the tank has a Herbie overflow system, and what that is there's two pipes. One is to suck most of the water out at a full siphon, and the other one is a surface skimming outlet that just removes any dust or protein that's gathered on the top. Yeah, just to keep the tank a lot cleaner. Sorry if it's a little bit cloudy, just did a feeding and they're going a bit nuts still. So as you can see, this is my overflow box that I built. I drilled the back of the tank at 40 mils or 45 mils, I think it was 45 mils, and I've used 40 mil bulkheads and outlets. So what you see I've done is there's an overflow box with some weird combs to stop any fish coming down, and I've got a 90-degree elbow turned down. What this does is it prevents water from sucking the pipe from sucking in air from the top, so it can retain the full siphon, and it just simply goes down and into sump. And it's also controlled by a bore valve. And what the bore valve does is, it's currently, on halfway. And if I turn it up, that outlet will drain faster than my pump is sending water back. Therefore, the siphon will break and my sump will run out of water and my pump will run dry and will probably burn out. However, if there's not enough water coming out of the tank and there's too much water going into the tank, then of course you may flood your tank and that will spell disaster. So if you're not too sure about the Herbie overflow system, I'll try explain another video with some diagrams, something just to help you guys understand. I believe this is probably the better of the overflow system. The bean animal is better, but it's more complicated. I found that Durso standpipes were quite loud. I'm not sure whether it just was my design, but I couldn't get it to be quiet enough for my liking. So, and also the surface skimming, you can maybe just see it. There's an outlet, there's an elbow. It's sort of turned to a side because I drilled the hole a little bit high and it just surface skims, and I put a bit of jet mat in the hole so no fish go down, but big enough for food or any debris to be taken out of the tank and into the sump. So the pipe you see here, the one on the right, is cost of surface skimming, and it should always just be a slight run of water. It's a good flow. You can have less, but I prefer it a bit more. It's it's more efficient at surface skimming. And so just the stage of filtration. So what I've done is jet mat is first. This is more of a mechanical filtration. At the same time, it is also biological. There's plenty of surface area. It's quite coarse, so it'll catch any of the big long pieces of feces, and it will also allow the feces to break down before it reaches the filter wall and to get caught there as a finer particle. It then travels down and up through my ceramic rings. This is Mr. Aqua. Ceramic rings. Over the top, down through my marine pure, and up again through my Bar Home Ultimate, some Japanese koi filter matrix, and a bag Purigen, and then back to the pump and up to the tank again. Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's all gravity fed. It's pretty simple sump. There's no bubble traps because my flow is quite low. Therefore, you do not need bubble traps. But in the future, I will have bubble traps. Reason being is, I don't think you should have water running up your media. The reason is, it should always flow down onto your media, the water. Therefore, to keep your sump clean, you can always put polywool on the top of every chamber, and that will prevent any sort of waste collecting into your sump. As you can see there, very fine particles do get through the filter wall and into the other chambers, and potentially clogging your sump, but that may take a while, but it still requires cleaning the sump. But if you do have filter wall on top of your chambers, then it will not require as much cleaning as this design here. So for my next design of a sump, I will have bubble traps that will allow water to always flow from the top down of the chambers where the biological media is sitting. Another thing is the flow rate of my pump. It's about 6,000 litres an hour. With the head height, I reckon I'm just getting about half, maybe a bit more. So it cycles my tank probably about 10 times an hour, and cycles my sump probably about 20 times an hour, which is plenty of filtration. You could probably go more, but I don't think that is really necessary. For my stocking, I could probably go more fish instead of more filtration at this point. For my heater, running your Eheim Jaeger, this is a 250 watt. Another thing here, I haven't finished. I've got one last tweak to do for the sump, and I would not recommend putting your heater like that. Reason being is, water does evaporate, and you can see here, this distance, it can evaporate that much in about 2 days. So say if you're on holidays for a week, you can imagine that it could get lower than half of this last chamber, and your heater cores will be exposed, and this can cause your heater to overheat, burn out, and kill your fish. So what I suggest is keeping a heater in one of these. So I'll just demonstrate for the moment. At the moment, the heater coil, as you can see, just reaches the top of this last set of chambers. However, if I move it out over this, it does cover all the heater coils. So what I plan to do is cut some holes or an opening in this light diffuser. Therefore I can stick my heater in there, and the coil will be always submerged, and I will never have any problems overheating. Even when I go on holidays, it'll be alright. But another thing I need to add is a lid, because I get so much evaporation every day. I'm almost adding about 5 5 liters of water a day. And I can't do that on holidays. I'm not going to have someone come over and fill water. It's just too much. I may have someone come feed. If it's a week, I'll leave it. Fish can go a long time without eating, as you know. They may seem to always be hungry, but they can go for a while without eating. And these guys are tough. Tough fish. And their colors are obviously just beautiful. And another thing, the way I hold them, I always see sorry. Another thing is how I hold up my media suspended from the bottom of the sump. I see a lot of people that have, you know, your PVC pipe, and it sort of just sits on there and holds up. I mean, it works, but to be honest, it looks ugly. You gotta have, it's your sump. I mean, you have a sump and think it's cool, you gotta make it look good, right? It's not just there for function. Sumps do look cool. And so how I hold it is light diffuser, cut it to shape, and I use glass rods to suspend it. And if you don't know what glass rods are, I'll just show you quickly. These are glass rods, so it's glass made into a rod, essentially. And what I've done is silicone it to the sides, and that props up the light filters, the light diffusers, sorry. And that's a much cleaner look. And of course, I got this off eBay. Order these in sizes that suit your tank. You can probably get them cut from a glass shop, but why would you pay, say, $2 a cut when you can just get them to size? It makes your life a lot easier, and there's plenty of sizes online. It doesn't matter if it's a tiny bit smaller, maybe like 2 centimeters each side, it's alright. As long as you've got like 80% of it, you know, stretch across the light diffuser to hold up your media. Anyway, this is my sump design, and I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'll see you next time.